There are ancient legends across many cultures that tell of a demon or deity that feed on the blood of the living. These tales, with the belief that the dead could rise again, gave way to one of our most well-known monsters, a being so powerful and charismatic that you could easily become their next meal. This monster's complexity has inspired media for centuries, and will continue as humans remain under the trance of vampires.
Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we watch and dissect your favorite spooky movies.
I'm your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this is a mostly horror podcast.
Each season, we will rank 13 movies on a scariness scale from, you guessed it, 1 to 13.
We will uncover the real-life myths and legends that inspire these movies, and tell you just how authentic they are.
This week, we interview a vampire with Interview with the Vampire.
Yes. So many interviews. Stephanie.
Yes.
Have you seen Interview with a Vampire before watching it for the podcast?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
How many? Like one time, two times?
Maybe like one time before.
Okay. Do you remember when about you watched it?
Oh, not that long ago, like a year or two at the most.
For the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like the story. Do you?
You're like, yeah, it's fine. Yes. So funny enough, I saw this when I was younger, and I thought it ended when Lestat, and then it kept going.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, holy shit.
You thought like Lestat was the main character the whole time, and you're like, well, I guess we're done.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I just never saw it in its entirety, and I never realized, because I haven't seen this. Like, I saw this when I was a kid, and that was like about it. And I thought it just was done after that part. And there was that whole second bit where Lestat's not there. I was like, oh shit. Like, as an adult, I realized, like, yeah, that would be a really short movie because there was still like another hour to go.
Right.
And I'm like, I've never actually seen this movie all the way through. I had that realization.
Watching it? Like, this is like the first time you've seen it all the way through?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I knew Antonio Banderas was in it, but like, not until
idea until that point.
Exactly. Nick and I were watching it, and I was just like, wait a minute. I don't know.
Why is Spy Kids dad here?
I was very confused.
Right.
So I saw the first half of this many a time, but never watched it all the way through.
Huh.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think I saw maybe a small portion of it when I was a kid. Mostly the parts where Claudia was there already. So I was like very confused by a vampire child, and I was also kind of creeped out. So I was like, I'll just not watch it.
yeah, there's so many questions about child vampires.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole second half. So weird. I do like the story. I actually have the first 3 Vampire Chronicle books by Anne Rice.
Oh, okay.
And this is so petty. This is so stupid. But I started reading the book, okay? So it's told much like the movie where a guy is interviewing a vampire. So it takes place during that time. So he's talking the whole time. The whole book is in quotation marks because he's talking. And it bothers me so much.
Yeah, no. You don't need to do that.
No, at the beginning of every single paragraph, there's a quotation mark because he's talking the whole time. And I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I got like 50 pages in, and for me, it's a denser book.
Okay.
Because, I read like more pop culture-y books. So I was just like, there's a lot going on, and I just gave up.
No, I wouldn't blame you. The quotation thing would make me upset too, I think.
Like, visually bothered me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do like the story.
It's kind of like I get it's an interview and everything, but like it's kind of like being talked at, like in a movie, like when people don't, well, not in a movie, but in a book, like when you don't feel like you're actually trying to visualize it for yourself.
Show, don't tell.
Right.
This whole book is telling now. Because it's still written like it would be if it were prose, which is like silly because nobody has that recollection. Well, maybe a vampire does. Shit. Maybe they do. Fuck. I might be wrong. But anyways, it's still written like as if it were, a normal book. But for whatever reason, seeing the quotation marks at the beginning of every paragraph just got under my skin. And they're long paragraph.
No.
I was like, no. But in any case, I do want to try again. And I like the movie. I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool.
I do like the movie.
Where did you have it ranked on our scariness scale?
Ooh, a 7.
Do you agree with the 7?
You know, after watching Daybreaker, I don't know if it will be a 7. Like, it might be lower.
Yeah, I had it as a 5.
Yeah.
I was like, not very scary.
It's not really.
It's like actiony in like moments.
Yeah.
It's more like brooding.
Yeah. Like
Louis.
Yeah, Louis very brooding. Yeah, it's more like mopey.
Yeah.
Sad times.
Very dramatic, very gothic.
Yes.
Extra.
I do like the costumes, though. Costumes are fun.
Yeah, it's a period piece.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part.
For the most of the part, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very scary. I think no. I was trying to at what point would any of it be really scary?
Lestat has like a moment where he's a little creepy, but
yeah. If anything, some of the parts are like thrilling.
Yeah.
Like a thriller type situation in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing visually shocking. They're just handsome vampires.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, no.
So, no, not that scary.
Just mainly pretty to look at. The only disgusting thing I can think of, honestly, is that, like, when you see them bite people, like, there's always blood on their teeth, and it always just kind of, like, icky.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not usually squeamish with blood, but, like, the way they made it look on their teeth, I was like...
Lick your teeth.
Like, stop.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're just, like, having full-blown conversations after.
Like, with all of it all over their faces.
Like, was that good? Like showing their teeth as much as possible. Smile. But I don't know if you noticed some scenes they have blood and then it would cut away and then cut back.
No blood.
It's just like, okay. Well, I'm glad they did that, but
yeah,
there was totally blood there for a second.
Right.
So. Yeah, the only reason I have it as a 5, honestly, is it's more like it is an adult movie. So it can't be anything like less than that, I feel. But it has like scary implications, but nothing like nothing visually.
Right. Nothing like visually scary. It's more or less the idea of such. Like, well, I mean, we'll discuss all of this in the plot, but the theater scene is very upsetting, honestly, if you think about it.
Upsetting. We'll get to another scene that like creeped me out. I was like, no, they're not okay. But we'll get into the plot. But before we dive into the plot,
I would like to hear the background.
Do you? Okay, I got you. So, Interview with a Vampire is a 1994 American Gothic horror vampire film directed by Neil Jordan, based on Anne Rice's 1976 novel of the same name, and it stars Tom Cruise with Brad Pitt and focuses on Lestat and Louis. Is it Louis?
I swear no one calls him Louis. Everyone calls him Louis.
I think it's
But in my notes, I put it as Louis because that's how everyone had spelled it. And even in the captions and stuff like that.
I think it's pronounced that way, though. Because it's like a French thing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I'm going to call him Louis because everybody does. Yeah.
So, Louis. Beginning with Louis' transformation into a vampire by Lestat in 1791. The film chronicles their time together and their turning of 10-year-old Claudia, who was played by Kirsten Dunst, into a vampire. The narrative is framed by a present-day interview in which Louis tells a story to a San Francisco reporter. The supporting cast features Christian Slater, Antonio Banderas, and Stephen Rea?
Maria?
Oh, that is.
No idea. Just Antonio and Banderas.
Rea. Yeah. I know Christian Slater, but I can't... Who was he? Who did he play? I don't know.
I mean, all of them.
Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute.
Was he Santiago, maybe?
I think he might have been the guy who was interviewing him.
Oh, maybe. Because I was like, if it was one of the vampires, like, you couldn't probably tell because they all had, like, long wigs and stuff.
Yeah.
He's the reporter.
He was...
Oh. Oops.
Maybe I didn't know who Christian Slater was. Yeah, his name's Daniel.
Okay.
That's who that is. Oh, God. I know nothing. Okay.
I didn't even care to learn his name. Like, even in my plot stuff, I'm like, the reporter.
The interviewer.
Yes. It's not really about him.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah. No one likes that guy.
I thought it was fine.
I don't like him by the end.
Oh, yeah. By the end, he was an idiot. But, for the most part, he's a non-factor. The film was released in November 1994 to generally positive reviews and was a commercial success. It received Oscar nominations for Best Art Direction and Best Original Score. Kirsten Dunst was additionally nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress for her role in the film. A standalone sequel, Queen of the Damned, was released in 2002 with Stuart Townsend replacing Cruise as Lestat.
Oh, interesting.
Have you ever seen Queen of the Dead?
No, I didn't.
Queen of the Damned.
I didn't know there was a sequel. Vampire Season 2, apparently.
Yeah, maybe we'll cover it then. Did you know this was Kirsten Dunst's first movie?
No.
Homegirl was amazing.
Yeah,
First
she did
movie.
great.
I love Kirsten Dunst. I feel like we talked about her before on this podcast. Did we?
What else was she in? Was she in Casper?
No.
No.
She wasn't in any of the other movies.
No, we just like her a lot.
No,
I think we just stan her.
Every movie she's been in, I'm like, yeah.
Good job, Kirsten.
You know what it might have been? Jumanji.
Oh.
For those who don't know, our old podcast, we covered Jumanji.
Oh, yeah.
But long story short, I love Kirsten Dunst in every movie she's in. Bring it on. Classic. Classic.
Gone Girl. Classic. Was she Gone Girl? No, maybe not.
I don't think so.
I'm just making up stuff.
Stephanie
Never mind. I don't know who Kirsten Dunst is, apparently. No, I do. I recognize the name Pretty Blonde Lady.
Pretty Blonde Lady. Well, we're going to, you know what? We're going to do a whole new Kirsten Dunst podcast. Sides project, I guess.
Yes. But she was very good in this. I'll give that.
Yeah, for sure. For being so young.
Yes.
So the rights to Rice's novel were initially purchased by Paramount Pictures in April 1976, and that was shortly before the book was even published.
Oh, wow.
However, the script lingered in development hell for years. I didn't go into too much detail, but basically it was bought by one company, and they were like, no, and then it just sat with Paramount for forever.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think they just bought the rights just with no plan at that point, but they just had them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the rights were bought before the book even came out, which is, crazy.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they really were relying on it, but doing well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The casting was initially criticized by Anne Rice, who said the casting was so bizarre, it's almost impossible to imagine how it's going to work. She suggested that Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise switch roles, stating that, I tried for a long time to tell them that they should just reverse these roles, have Brad Pitt play Lestat and Tom Cruise play Louis. Of course, they didn't listen to me. So she was not about it.
No.
Tom Cruise specifically, she was like, what the fuck?
Honestly, I don't really love Tom Cruise. I think he's a weird person. But,
yeah, personality aside.
Right, but, I can't think of too many movies where I've really liked him as that actor. But yeah. Lestat, I love him as Lestat. I think he's great. I forget that he's Tom Cruise, so which is ideal.
Yeah. I mean, if you convince the audience that you're no longer that person, you're doing your job.
Right.
You're an actor. Good job. Good job, Tom Cruise. Eventually, Rice became satisfied with Cruise's performance after seeing the completed film, saying that from the moment he appeared, Tom was Lestat for me. And she basically could not have predicted that it would have worked out. At all.
Had no faith.
Yeah.
She's who's this Tom Cruise person? He does nothing.
Who's this Tom Cruise person? She actually did call him to compliment him and admit that she was wrong.
Well, that's nice.
At least she admitted she screwed up.
Yeah, okay.
And then a little fact, and in the plot, I'm sure we'll talk about their relationship. What was that even? Mm-hmm. So due to Rice's perception of Hollywood's homophobia, at one point she rewrote the part of Louis, changing his sex to female. So in order basically to specifically heterosexualize the character's relationship with Lestat. At the time, Rice felt it was the only way to get the film made, and singer and actress Cher was considered for the part.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think I remember seeing it as a kid, and I was like, wait, so are they together? But I didn't really understand the concept of relationships and all possibilities at that point either. I was like, maybe one of them's her brother.
I mean, at least you were questioning it.
Yeah.
It's not very clear, but I know there's a show that recently came out where they're together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do the dirty all the time. Apparently, I haven't seen the show.
I mean, I could kind of see it. Lestat's very interested in Louis, honestly. He's almost a little stalkery, obsessed.
Yeah. I think...
And Louis is just so not about it.
No. He's no. Like I said, I didn't get very far in the book, so I don't know if it's more clear in the book, what this is. But I kind of like it being ambiguous. Yeah. Because it's just, it could be one way or the other, but that's not the importance of it. one way or another.
Right.
But yeah, Lestat is like, don't leave me ever.
Right.
And then they refer to them as a family once in a while. And so.
I mean, they both refer to themselves as the father of Claudia. So, like, they both accept that they are co-parenting her. So,
yeah,
that's a partnership in a way.
Yeah. So, good for Anne Rice. I mostly wrote down that fact because of Cher. Could you imagine Cher?
I mean, I don't know if I would have hated it, but I don't see how it could have developed from where we start off, honestly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't see anyone else play these roles.
Right.
They did such a good job, in my opinion.
They did.
Brad Pitt, who, much like you with Tom Cruise, I can't really think of many Brad Pitt things that I'm like, yeah, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like, I know he's been in a lot of stuff, but none of the things I've seen him in, I've been like, oh, wow, my favorite movie. Like, compared to this. I like this a lot. But again, it's not like a whole, like, wow, that's Brad Pitt. Like,
wow.
Wow, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
I'm more excited for Kirsten.
Yes, we stand Kirsten. We stand a child Kirsten.
Yes, all forms of Kirsten. Actually, unrelated, and anyone listening, if you want to watch a very interesting video of Kirsten Dunst's career, you could watch that on YouTube where she goes through her like most iconic roles. It was fun.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I learned more about her role in this movie, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, obviously, because it's her starting point, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was cool because like Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise made sure she was like really comfortable with everything because some of it's like questionable.
Yeah, well, I would imagine too, like as a little girl too, it might be intimidating to play opposite to men. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was cool. They were really like nice to her and
good.
Made sure she felt comfortable. So.
That's good.
Very interesting. Kirsten Dunst, look her up. Are you ready to dive into the plot?
I am. So in modern day San Francisco, a vampire named Louis meets with a reporter to tell him the story of his life. In 1791, Louisiana, Louis was a young plantation owner who became suicidal due to the loss of his wife and baby in childbirth. Louis spends his time drinking, daring others to kill him, and sleeping with sex workers.
Like, you won't kill me.
Right.
You won't do it.
Like, he gets in, I don't know, like in an argument at a brothel, I'm guessing, with a person he's playing cards with, and he's literally, like, rips open his shirt, like, stab me! Like, do it!
And then the guy's like, oh, never mind.
You're gross, I don't like it! Like,
please kill me! And then he's like, no.
No. So one evening on the waterfront of New Orleans, Louis is attacked by a vampire named Lestat, who tells him that he will give him a choice he never had. Louis can either die from the attack or be turned into a vampire. Louis accepts Lestat's proposition, but comes to regret it, finding Lestat's enjoyment in killing immoral, and soon refuses to drink human blood altogether, only living on rats to keep him going.
I love the part where he decides to turn, and they just float into the air.
Right.
It was like, I don't know if the swelling music, not to be very dramatic, but it looked a little silly.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Up together. And then the part where he's seeing for the first time as a vampire and the statue's like alive.
Yeah, I was like, can we talk about why that's happening?
Yeah, like I understand the concept of like seeing new life and like everything looks brighter,
sharper, clearer.
But,
yeah,
like, why is the statue moving?
Right,
that's not
what's happening. Statues aren't alive.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not quite right. Like I don't think I would want statues and.
Maybe he's so sad that statues are alive.
He's very lonely. A lonely man. But now he has Lestat, which, for better or worse.
Right. They are like the perfect odd couple, honestly.
Yeah. Lestat's an insane maniac. And then Louis just wanted to fucking die. And here he is, stuck with him.
Forever.
I don't know why he made that choice all of a sudden. He's like...
yeah, he was so into dying. I don't know. I think it was just because he had... like the choice was there in front of him, and Lestat made it seem like he could live a new life and completely forget about the old. But I don't think it was the case. Yeah.
Fool.
Yeah.
Could have just died.
Should have just died.
He's like, never mind. Never mind, I'll do this. Louis, I don't even feel bad for you anymore.
I know. He's like, you get his point, but also you're kind of like, Louis, just suck it up already. Like, you made the choice.
Yeah. Live with
no one took it from you.
Yeah. And if you if you really wanted to die, he could have. Just walked outside in the sun.
That's also true.
But he decided to be a vampire, so here we are.
Yes. So after some like hazing basically from Lestat, like Lestat's just like bringing pretty women in front of him all the time, like to kill them together, but Louis never partakes.
Yeah.
But eventually Louis does give in to his need for human blood during the plague in New Orleans. He ends up feeding on a little girl that lost her mother to the plague and is immediately remorseful, believing that he had killed her. Lestat finds Louis, even though Louis doesn't want to remain his companion at this point, and turns the little girl Claudia into a vampire so Louis will stay and they can raise her as their daughter.
Yeah, I real quick want to talk about him finding Claudia, right? So she's like by her mother's side on the floor. Her mother's clearly dead.
Very dead.
Is blackened, decaying, dead. So that's very upsetting, first of all.
Yes.
So he bites Claudia. He's like, oh, fuck, killed her. Lestat comes in, and this is the scene that disturbed the fuck out of me. Picks up the corpse and is like dancing around.
Just so happy that Louis tried to kill somebody.
And like the visual of this corpse flopping around.
Yeah.
It made me
not tasteful.
No. It made me very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like that visual freaked me the fuck out.
It's a little icky.
So that scene, like I was about to say something about that made me feel weird. But like, you know, some people will be like, ooh, that's weird. I was like physically like,
ooh, yeah,
like,
no.
I hated that. Like pissed me off.
Really?
I don't know why. It triggered something in me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very disturbing part.
The disturbing part to me, like, yeah, I was like kind of like weirded out by the whole body thing, but also like a little funny just because Lestat makes everything sound so funny, and like every moment is a joyous occasion.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're eating rats today, yay! Like,
no, something about that just like triggered something in me, and I was like, this is not funny. Like, nothing about this is okay.
Right.
I don't know why.
The thing that triggers me, though, is him, like, he brings Claudia, like, turns Claudia, and, like, is just sitting with her in the bed that he's turned her, and, like, convinces, like, some sort of maid or somebody to check on her to make her eat her, basically. And Lestat, like, introduces her to Louis, and he's like, he was gonna leave the family, but now he's gonna stay and take care of you. Like,
oh, okay.
like Lestat's like the worst ex-wife or whatever, like, have a baby and then he gotta stay. Like,
you thought you were gonna leave. Like, oh shit.
That was the triggering thing. I was like, oh, Louis just wanted to leave. Like,
not no more.
So, as time goes by, we see that Louis has a real father-daughter relationship with Claudia, and meanwhile, Lestat is more focused on making her a refined killing machine.
Two totally different parenting styles.
Yes, completely.
Two different expectations for this child.
Right.
Child, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. Like, Louis is very, like, nurturing and comforting, and then Lestat is very, like, you gotta do everything right, and no excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you have it in the notes, but when she kills people, it's not, she doesn't get mad that she killed them. It's like, not here. Like,
right.
What did I tell you about killing?
Like, don't eat it in your house or whatever.
Something like that.
And like, why are you dripping blood on the floor? Like, this kind of stuff. And Louis is like, oh my God, why is she doing this? Like,
unfortunately, she's being a vampire.
Yeah. So he tends to her more as a student than his child. When they have been a family for about 30 years, Claudia has matured psychologically, but remains the same little girl physically and resents Lestat for treating her as such. She comes to realize that she will never become an adult and blames Lestat for her circumstances, so she tells Louis that they should leave him. Yeah, much more than leave him.
Yeah, and that scene where she like freaks out, and she's like, "Which one of you did this?" I love that scene.
Yeah, she is just
so good.
I think that's the scene I saw as a kid, and I was like, "So is she in charge?"
Oh my God, I felt that. I was like, "Oh, I would not want to cross her path at all."
And she's such a good little, like, manipulator, too. Like, you see her, like, interact with different strangers and stuff, and she's so sweet. Mm-hmm. And then she just completely turns on them and eats them.
But in that scene where she's freaking out, like, she did such a good job. Like, she felt older. Like, you could feel that she was 30 years older, but just looked as a kid. And
just so frustrated with the circumstance, yeah.
And that one of the questions I had, and I don't know if we could discuss it later or not, but like she developed 30 years. Is her brain also like developing, or is it stuck in that 10-year-old? Because your brain still developing. A lot of questions, you know?
I don't know. Well, they did say that she matured psychologically, but
Mhm.
I think it's more just like probably more coming to terms with your situation rather than actually being like, oh, wow, I'm a mature adult. But
Yeah, so mature.
yes. But like she does envy like women that they see, and she's like, I wish I was her. I want to grow older.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
terrible.
She immediately convinces Lestat to drink the blood of 2 dead boys that she killed with laudanum, which I wasn't sure what it was. It's like a powdered form of opium.
Oh.
I just had to look it up because I was
Okay.
like, why is that a thing?
I was just like poison.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Yeah, I was just curious, which weakens him enough that she is able to slit his throat. When Louis finds out that she's done this, he's shocked, but ultimately helps Claudia dispose of his body in the swamp.
I did want to say real quick, I didn't realize, I guess, I don't know if I ever knew this, that you, like as a vampire, can't drink dead person's blood.
That seems like a new rule to me, but I guess
It makes
it
sense.
makes sense.
Because you never see a vampire drinking the blood of a dead person.
Like, yeah.
I don't think I ever like really thought about it.
Right.
Because he starts deteriorating pretty fast from drinking the blood of the dead. And I don't think I ever like connected that. I was like,
Yeah. I remember too earlier on in the movie when he shows Louis that you can eat rats, but it's not as good. He says something about like the blood gets so cold quickly and like meaning it's like kind of just like barely sustaining you, I think.
and I guess that
Interesting.
goes back to the whole life force that we talked about
Right.
before. So interesting thing. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
That you can't do that to a dead body.
Apparently not. So, free of Lestat, they decide to plan a voyage to Europe in search of others of their kind, but on the night they're supposed to leave, Lestat returns having survived on the blood of crocodiles and frogs. And he looks like a little gray and like wrinkly, like scaly. Like
Yeah, he looks nothing like himself. Like
Yeah.
obviously, but
he's very put together in like the first portion of the movie. And yeah, when he comes back, he's not well.
I was like, is that a different actor? Is that even him?
It was him, I think.
Oh
but
yeah, I think it was, but the makeup was so good.
Did you see his hands? Like, one of his hands was the wrong way when he was playing the piano. I kept looking at his hands from that point on. I was like, did he readjust that? Did he fix that?
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, like
his
he was
hand
playing the piano and his one thumb was turned out the other way. So, like, he was like this.
I
Like,
didn't even notice that. No. What happened to your arm, buddy?
guess I got torn apart by the crocodile and he
Oh,
just
Jesus.
did what he could.
Oh God.
Ooh,
Please fix that, sir.
yeah. So Lestat attacks them, but Louis sets him on fire, allowing them to escape to their ship and depart. Louis is like an arsonist, technically.
Because he burns down the entire city,
Build it, yeah.
the whole town.
And when he leaves his plantation too, like to set the people free so then Lestat isn't like continuously murdering them. This is right before he finds Claudia. He burns down his entire plantation as well.
Yeah.
He's setting everything on fire.
Yeah, you know what? He's like, what are all the reasons I could set things on fire? And then it just so happens he's like, yes, I get to do it again.
Yes.
But inadvertently, he burns down the whole town.
Like he thought being a vampire he could be Zuko from Avatar.
Not quite.
So in September of 1870, Louis and Claudia settle in Paris after searching the Mediterranean and Europe for other vampires, but to no avail. In a chance encounter, Louis meets Santiago and
I'm
Armand.
calling him Louis, just an FYI.
Louis, oh shit.
It's fine. It's just funny.
It's literally spelled Louis.
We're going to have to go through your notes and phonetically put Lou.
Yeah. It's Louis.
You guys, anyone listening, you could just pronounce it however you want.
Just imagine it the way you want to hear it.
Yeah. Disregard Stephanie saying Louis like 5 times.
Oh, oopsie.
This is funny.
In a chance encounter, Louis meets Santiago and Armand. Armand invites Louis and Claudia to his coven, housed at a theatrical venue where they stage horror shows for humans. It's gross.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the audience realizes like the problematic way that they're going about producing these horror shows for them. They literally take a girl, we assume off the street. She is stripped naked and they all just
Feast.
Fucking devour her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
But they like make a show of it too. It's not like, oh, here she is. She's on stage. Go get her kind of thing. It's like,
They think it's fake.
yeah. And even one person from the audience says like, take me instead. And I was like, what the fuck are you offering, girl? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, again, they don't know that they're actually dying.
I feel like it was kind of obvious that she was dying, but
No, they're just really good actors.
yeah.
And you don't really see it because they all like crowd around her.
I guess that's true, but I don't know.
It's not good. It's bad. It's all bad.
Yeah. But it is a little humorous to see Louis and Claudia watching them, and they're like a vampire pretending to be a vampire or something.
Be
like
human pretending to be a.
Yeah.
It's a vampire pretending to be human
pretending to be a vampire. And
Yeah.
like Claudia says like how avant-garde or something. When introduced to the coven, Santiago reads their minds and suspects them of killing Lestat. They evade punishment for this crime, and Armand warns Louis that he should send Claudia away for her own safety. Louis stays behind with him to learn the meaning of being a vampire. And I don't know. I was like, why do you need Armand to be the person to tell you this? Like I know he hasn't found any other people that are vampires at this point, but I was like, why does it have to be this dude?
What do you mean? Like,
I don't know. He just doesn't. He gives them a very laissez-faire answer, like it just is kind of thing.
Yeah, I see what
and
you're
I was like, yeah, cool, bro. We don't need to stick around and find out more.
Right. Also, wasn't part of the issue like he turned a kid into a vampire? Like that's a no-no.
Yeah,
too?
they were unsettled by that as well, I think. And I was like, why do you care? Like,
And I think that's why they go after Claudia because she shouldn't exist.
yeah,
So that's
that
part of
that
it,
might
too.
be it too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like you don't kill another vampire,
Mm-hmm.
but also the big thing was Claudia shouldn't be
Right.
alive like that. You don't turn a kid into a vampire. So
Yeah.
which is
Right.
why they like.
Sensing that Louis may leave her for Armand, Claudia demands he turn a woman named Madeline into a vampire so she can be Claudia's caretaker when he leaves her, and he reluctantly complies. I mean, I feel like it wasn't like guaranteed that he was going to leave her.
No, it was. He wasn't going to, but she was just being paranoid.
Ladies.
Women. I was gonna jokingly say that, but I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that.
No, probably not.
But Stephanie, like, don't you fucking do it. But this poor woman,
I know.
she turns and then
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. And, well, she was doing it because she lost her daughter, too. So, like, Claudia was going to be, like, her forever baby.
Yeah.
And
No.
Which sucks, too. Like, you just got promised eternal life, and then they're going to fuck it all up for you.
Yeah.
Then you fuck around and find out.
Yeah, they fucked around and they did indeed find out.
So, directly after, the vampires from the theater capture them to punish them for Lestat's murder. Louis is imprisoned in a coffin.
Louis. I was gonna point it out.
Louis is imprisoned in a coffin while Madeline and Claudia are forced into a chamber where the sun shows through and burns them to ash.
Rip. She was a vampire for all but an hour.
Oh, yeah. Like a morning?
Yeah. And now she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not funny, but
And it looked so painful, too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you could just see them, like, slowly, like, turning black and patchy in places, like, just slowly burning away.
Yeah.
Armin does nothing to stop this and lets Louis out the next day. Just like, oh, yeah, you lost your companion and daughter?
it was weird because they seal Louis up behind a wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next day, does he have like a change of heart and takes him out, or did they just put him in there for the time being? Like, what was that all about?
It really felt like it was just to get Claudia out of the picture. So then Armin would be like Louis' only choice.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. Like, I guess that was like the only way to keep him away from them at that point. Yeah.
Because it seemed like out of nowhere, he's like, "I'm rescuing you."
Yeah, but I mean, he saw the whole thing go down. Like, he saw it when they got put in the chamber. Like, he could have rescued them a long time ago.
Who? Armin?
Armand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did he have a change of heart, or like I don't know. It was very confusing. I don't know what his motive was.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I should have."
This is like the most confusing part of the movie, and I bet you it's better explained in the book.
Oh,
or
probably.
something. Yeah, because like Armand essentially like sacrifices his whole coven for Louis at one point.
Yeah.
And I like, why are you guys so interested in each other? I don't get it.
Something about Louis, man. I don't
He's
know.
special.
Lestat and now Armand's like...
And Claudia too. Claudia, everyone wants to be besties with Louis.
Fair enough. I don't know. Something pure about him. They just gravitate towards it.
So seeking revenge, Louis returns at dawn to set the theater on fire, killing the entire coven, including Santiago.
Bye.
Armand arrives in time to help Louis avoid being exposed in the sunlight and offers him again the chance to be his companion. Louis refuses as he's unable to accept Armand's way of life and can't forgive him for allowing Claudia's death. Louis travels the world alone, unable to fully get over the loss of Claudia, and ends up back in New Orleans in 1988. One night, he follows a trail of rat corpses and finds a decaying Lestat living in an abandoned mansion.
Dude, was he just sitting there? Just like...
Just waiting.
Louis, please come back. Come back to me, Louis.
And he thought, like, feeding on rats was, like, the lowest of the low. So I was like, this is all you can manage in this time you've been away? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Was he, like, so...
Maybe because he couldn't, like... Well, he mainly lured people to him because of his... I don't know, charm and good looks. So maybe since he wasn't that good looking, he couldn't get anyone interested.
I don't know. It was very weird, like, why he was just there. Because he was still in his old clothes. Like, he has not changed with the times at all. Like, what? Were you just sitting there depressed because Louis left you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because the helicopter, do you have the helicopter note?
How about you explain it? Because I didn't really write it down in this
Okay,
case.
well, it's weird because a helicopter, like out of nowhere, just like at eye level on the second or third floor, whatever floor of the building, and Lestat's freaking out.
Because he thinks it's the sun.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so he hasn't really been out and about because he would have come across a plane or a helicopter. So was he just sitting there this whole time? Like, it's very weird. And the helicopter was very strange. Just like, what was it there for? Why was it coming down?
Just to scare him.
And it just left. Like, fuck you, Lestat, and then left. It does it every day.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go get him again. Eat shit, and then leaves again. It was like, it was almost like when they're searching for someone on the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But they like
the spotlight. Yeah.
They shine a spotlight in there, and they probably very clearly saw them.
Probably, honestly. They weren't that far away, yeah.
No, it was weird. So this random helicopter came and gone.
Yeah, just spying on two vampire ex-lovers.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
TMZ said.
Yes. He expresses remorse for turning Claudia and asks Louis to join him again, but Louis refuses and leaves. He's like, no, I can't stay. I got, like, something to do, basically. It's like, what kind of engagements do you have, Louis?
I don't know. Just living forever. You know, the usual.
Yeah, like, I don't have the time.
I don't have the time. Oh, my God. The one good thing about being a vampire is just all the time you gain.
Right. You can literally waste your time with centuries of people.
It's like, I'll start that project in about 100 years.
Yeah.
No rush.
So back in modern day, Louis finishes the interview and is disappointed to find that his tale of suffering was completely overlooked when the reporter begs him to turn him into his companion.
This dumbass.
I was like, what are you? This man is so depressed. This vampire guy is so depressed. And you're like, please, can I be a vampire too? It sounds so fun.
Yeah, Daniel's like, sign me up.
Right. So he attacks the reporter enough to scare him into fleeing for his car. And in the car, Daniel, the reporter, plays Louis' interview tape while driving away. Suddenly, Lestat appears, attacking the reporter and taking control of the car. They drive away as Lestat tells him he'll give him a choice that he never had. And also, he's, like, criticizing Louis, always moaning and crying about everything.
True, though. But all of a sudden, Lestat's like, I'm back, bitch.
Right.
And, okay. I think that ending was a little silly, but...
I don't know. I kind of liked it that he, like, was able to go on at that point, but...
Lestat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just the whole thing with the reporter dude, just like, oh, God.
It just didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, I feel like Louis' story is very sad, honestly, if you think about it.
Yeah.
For even more than 2 seconds. But this guy was like, no, vampires sound fun.
I know. He was not listening.
No.
He only cherry-picked the cool parts.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, this is fine. None of that convinced me. If
No.
anything, that just drove the point home. Like, you do not want this.
Right.
Dumbass. But anyways, he probably took the chance. Or, hopefully, Louis scared him enough. He's like, never mind. Well, he would die. He would die.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Your choice is to die or live forever.
It's the same choice that Louis had in the beginning. Like, die or become a vampire.
What is worse, dying or living forever? I guess it just depends on your outlook.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just depends on what kind of vampire you want to be. Like, if you want to be morally or upright like Louis should have just been like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I'll just die. That's what I was kind of hoping for anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Daniel, the reporter, seems like he'd be into it. So
I don't know.
maybe.
But do you want to talk about the passage of time and eternal life?
Yeah.
A little bit more in detail?
Yeah.
Okay. So for some of the research I did, it said vampires are often portrayed as immortal creatures in fiction, obviously. And while this is not true in reality, because, real life vampires probably die.
Yeah.
You're just looking at me like, there are real life vampires. You're like, yeah. They do.
For sure.
There are certain
Steve the vampire died yesterday. Like,
who died?
Steve the vampire.
Who's Steve the vampire?
I don't know.
Your neighbor?
Yes.
There are certain elements that can help explain why they are often seen as living forever. Vampires, first of all, don't age because they technically died.
Mm-hmm.
And since their bodies are not subject to those effects of time, they maintain their youthful appearance indefinitely. Additionally, vampires have a powerful healing factor that allows them to recover from wounds and injuries quickly. So that enables them to keep going, basically. Because even in, we didn't really talk about it, but Claudia cuts Lestat's cheeks.
Yeah, and it just instantly heals.
So to that effect, I mean, unless you're blown up,
mm-hmm.
I don't think you could heal from that.
No.
But you're gonna regen your health basically,
right?
Almost immediately,
right? Like the only time it's ever fatal, they have to burn them or basically murder them to a point where they can't come back.
Mutilate their corpse.
Yeah, because obviously, she slit his throat. He probably shouldn't have come back from that, but he did.
Yeah,
it just took a little while.
It wasn't through the heart, so I feel like
maybe
that's why. But
they didn't really do the whole stake through the heart thing. It was mainly Louis was killing other vampires.
Yeah, they said kind of in the movie too. Some of that shit was not true. They had reflections even.
Oh, yeah.
In the movie. I don't know if you noticed that, but they had the reflections, so.
Yeah, because Louis was trying to convince the reporter in the beginning that he was actually a vampire, and his steaks and garlic are all
bullshit.
Yeah,
stupid bullshit.
Stupid stiff.
So vampires also have an incredible resistance to death, as they cannot be killed by conventional methods, which we kind of talked about, but including aging and disease, which in the movie, the plague was going on and they were fine. So diseases don't really affect them either. So those are just some of the factors that kind of contribute to them being able to live forever. Those are all the things that go into it.
Yeah. I also speculated a little bit on it. Also you have to think of it just being as vampires are technically just dead people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They're using blood to sustain that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they would live forever. It's just circumstance.
Yeah.
That it happens.
Yeah. I guess
way.
As long as they're still maintaining that, i.e. drinking the blood, they're technically immortal.
Right. But it's not a guarantee. They're just basically biding their time, it seems, more or less with blood to maintain these dead bodies of theirs.
Yeah. They can't just not do anything and
right. It's not guaranteed. Plus with every single factor that can kill them out of possibilities, assuming all of them are true, then it's about probably the same mortality rate of a person, honestly, except minus the aging.
Yeah. I do have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to live forever if you could? We'll go with the question as a vampire or just in general.
Could I choose others to live forever? Or is
with
it
you?
Yeah, or is it just me?
I mean, I guess you could do what you want in this scenario, but you as a person, would you want to be around forever?
I don't know. I guess it just depends what day. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm scared of what would happen after death because I don't know. No one knows.
Mhm.
But also, I'm tired and I don't want to do it. Like,
True though, I know. I would say most days I'm like, I don't want to do this forever. But at the same time, if I don't, because as a vampire, you need to kill people. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to drink blood.
Yeah.
But you can't get sick. You know, shit like that.
Yeah.
But you still have to like live, which means you probably have to work. still.
Right. Like you kind of
it's
have
too
to like
much.
cover it up and stuff like that. It's a lot of secrets too.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It's too
to
much work.
maintain.
Yeah. So I would say on the whole, I don't think I would want to.
Fair. I think you'd have to like really set yourself up for success. Like you got to be like insanely wealthy so then you don't have to work. But then also like what are you doing with all your spare time? There's a lot of like factors I think that go into it.
The time would be great for me because I have like 10 million projects going at any given time.
Yeah.
So that's the part I like. It's everything else.
When
like
the podcast takes off, we have eternal life.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
But it's one of those questions that you're like, I don't know. Some days you're like, maybe.
Maybe it wouldn't be so bad, but what do I really want to?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, we haven't been listening to Louis' story too much because we're like,
but I wouldn't beg him. I wouldn't like hands and knees beg this man.
Make me a vampire, please.
Like he's so upset every time he has to bite anybody. I couldn't put him through that. I feel bad. Like I'd be like, maybe introduce me to your friend Lestat. Like,
oh well, he technically got that.
He did technically.
So hopefully it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we will always appreciate that.
You can find us on social media with 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next sleep. She got nothing. Not this time.
Well, I guess you don't sleep if you're living forever.
But they sleep in the coffin.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they...
Yeah, the staff said it was comfy. I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. That was the one thing that was needed.
Yeah,
So.
sleepy times.
They sleep.
Yeah, some of them don't get to.
That sucks.
Sleepy is